Hi all, welcome to today's stream, and we are back to solving chess puzzles. We are right now at 2450, and the idea is to reach somewhere between 2480, at least be in that zone before we end today's stream. So yeah, with that said, let's get started. This is a daily puzzle, so this should be pretty simple. I think rook h6 looks good here, trapping the queen. Bishop h6, rook h6, queen h6, knight h6 check, sits a king g7 and knight f7, rook f7, and then I can capture on b5, and more or less it will be good for white. As in, white will be able to handle the situation because then white's queen will be against black's knight and the bishop rook, which might be not that easy to play, but then again, should not be that hard as well. So yeah, let's go for knight h rook h6. Awesome. Let's continue with the same momentum. We are playing with black white pieces. My opponent's king doesn't look good, but I'm down by a full piece. He has got and 6 pawns. I've got three. Yeah, so materially we are down by a piece. I think queen f4 looks real good here because I mean, okay, I can go for queen h1, queen h3 as well, but then king g7. Yeah, and with queen f4, he can go for. Let's see if he goes for king h5. How do I go about? Then maybe queen h2, king g4. Yeah, then I will be able to checkmate him if he goes for king h5 after queen f4. So queen f4, king h5 is not good. So king g7 or h7 are the other two moves. Let's go for king h7 maybe. But then I've got queen h4, king g7 is there. Or even better is queen f4, check, king h7, rook f7, check. Now he can go to h8, but then queen h6 is there. So after rook f7, that's not good because then the queen has to give herself up for the rook. So yeah, queen f4 check, king g7 is the other move, which is real good because then I just don't. I mean, then rook f7 does not work. I don't have queen h6 because the pawn is there on g6. But then I have got queen g4 there, and I can then go for some attack on g6 maybe. Yeah, that looks promising. Queen f4, and then we'll see how black responds to that. Also, queen f4. Yeah, okay, the pawn push is not available at the moment. So let's go for queen f4. Ooh, okay. What is it? Queen h3. Let's see. Nice. But okay, let's see what's the problem with queen f4 here. How can black respond to it? The engine is taking some amount of time. Probably I'll skip it and have a look at it later on. Okay, so we're playing with white pieces and we are down by uh we are against our opponent's queen with the rook and knight. But luckily our opponent's king is not that safe, you see. Hmm. Fortunately, there are no checks available from the black side. Okay. What about h5 check? That looks good, but then he's got rook f7. However, I can bring my h8 rook to f8 check, and then he has to go to e7, and then if I bring my other rook, or maybe I bring my other rook, yeah, to e8, that is still a check. King goes to d7. Then he escapes, right? So maybe h5 king f7 is met with knight coming to d6 check, but then he can go to d6 as well, attacking my knight. Hmm. Let's see. So maybe h5 is not the right move here. h5 king f7, rook f8, king e6, rook e8, king e7, and then he can escape very easily. So yeah, maybe h5 does not help us a lot. Hmm. So are there any sacrifices on h6? Maybe rook h6, king h6, rook h8, but then he can just escape by f7. But what about knight d6, controlling f7, and then we are threatening h5, king coming to g5, and then rook h6, if pawn h6, rook g8 is made. Yeah, I think we can start with knight d6, controlling f7. Hi Ritikesh, nice to have you on stream. Knight d6 controls f7, and then we have some ideas of h5. Yeah, awesome. Now I have to be a little cautious because my opponent's queen is near to my king, queen. E1 check is there, and then maybe the least that black can go for is a perpetual, or maybe he can also involve his rook, which can be threatening. You see, let's say h5 check. King has only one square coming to g5. Then rook h6, but black is not obliged to capture on h6. Actually, why I did not get the notification of your yesterday's stream? Oh, no issues, man. No issues. I stream every weekend, so by the way, you can watch it back on my channel if you want to. But yeah, okay. So h5, king g5, and then knight e4 check is even better because then the black queen is, I mean, the queen has to give up herself for the knight on e4, right? Because the king has no squares available. h5, king g5, knight e4. The king has got no squares. Yeah. Also, is there something better? I think, I mean, knight f7 would have been checkmate had this rook not been on c7, but that's not the position. So let's go for knight e4 check. The question is queen e4. Yeah, h5 and knight e4 is the idea. But I'm only thinking about, I think I'll capture with the, let's see. Yeah, awesome. I think we can capture with either of the pawns. Awesome. So it's the endgame puzzle. My opponent clearly has an advantage on the queen side. I, on the other hand, do have a pass pawn, but I have to be a little cautious of the c3 push because c3 takes, and then I need to be, my king needs to be in this square, or I should say this square as well. Which song is in the background? It's visible on the stream, right? It's, by the way, Obituary by Dhruv Vashisht, but yeah, it's visible on the stream. Yeah, so c3 is something I need to be aware of. The other idea could be to go for knight d4. If he captures on e6, I can capture on c4, and then, but then the problem is he can easily go for something like king f6, and if I go for king b5, king g5, king a5, king h5, king b4, and then this pawn needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 moves to be promoted, and I would require 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I will be better in this position, right? Let's just recalculate. But if I play king d5, which looks good, he can just simply play c3, right? And that is losing for white. So king d4 takes, and then yeah, we just proceed. Okay. If I capture on b3, capture on b3, the problem is now the situation has changed because the squares have changed. Yeah. Also I mean I have to capture on b3, right? If I play something like a3 or a4, at some point of time c3 could be a move, getting b2 in action, right? Um, if I capture on b3, or let's say a4, king e6, king c4, king comes to f5. Yeah, I'm also thinking about that, but the squares now have changed. In my previous calculation, I believe I was capturing on c4 and then b4, but now I have to capture on b3. That, and the a pawn is still there. In my previous calculation, the a pawn was not there, and I ended up capturing on b4 the last. So it allowed me to push my pawns just like that. If I capture on b3, captures on b3, and then if I play king d5, a4, king d6, a3, captures b2, e7, and he promotes and I also promote, but I don't think so that is enough. a3 captures on c4, captures on, sorry, a3 captures on e6, captures on c4, king f5, king b3, king g5, king a4, king h5, king captures on a5, and then the pawn would require 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 moves. I would require 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so that is better, I believe. I should play something like a4 here. a4 or a3 is what I'm thinking about. Or can I also capture on b3? Pawn b3. No, but then my okay, I'm not sure. I mean, capturing on b3 looks good. Um, yeah, I think I can capture on b3 as well. Is it a4? Yeah. Should have listened to my instinct over there. Anyhow, so it's an endgame puzzle. So clearly my b3 pawn is lost. I can't do much about that. Yeah. That was the idea. a4 or a3 was my candidate moves, by the way. Hmm. Okay. I think in this position f5 looks good. If either of the pawns captures, we capture back and the f pawn is hit, right? But then obviously they are not necessarily required to capture on f5. They can, okay, in this case if I play f5, they have to capture. Let's say they capture with the E pawn. Yeah, I think f5 should be the move. Is it? Hmm. Okay. I guess I did not solve that puzzle enough. I was a little frustrated by endgame puzzles, one after the other. Anyhow, we're playing with black pieces. Um, 2500? No, never. It's my ever-going quest of reaching 2500. I'm not sure when I will, but yeah, someday I will. Okay, so we're playing with black pieces here. I see. So he has got 3 pawns. We've got 2 pawns. Um, Bishop c3 hits the knight, right? And then I can. Hmm. Okay. I mean, if this knight were not on b4, rook c2 would have been a mate, right? So what about bishop c4 directly? I hit the bishop, the knight on b4, but then he has got rook. Yeah, I mean, he cannot move his knight from b4, otherwise rook c2 is mate. Rook b, rook b1, king b1, rook b2. Yeah, but then king c1 is there, right? Rook b1, king b1, rook b2, king c1. Yeah, I think bishop c3 looks real good here, because if this knight ever moves from b4, and then there are no checks also, right? From okay, yeah, you can go for something like rook a8, but then king b7 is there. Okay, rook bishop c3. How does white respond? Yep. So king c1 in that position wins. Also, there is no bishop check. Also, yeah, had this pawn not been there, then bishop g5 would have been awesome. So I can also capture an h6, h4, my bad, and that still holds the threat of bishop g5, but I'm not sure if that's enough. What about bishop c3? I'm so inclined to play bishop c3 here. What checks does he have then? This rook a8, rook king b7. I hit the rook. Let's go for bishop c3. Come on. Is it this? Wow. But what's the problem with bishop c3? This is such a promising move. Plus my engine is not working. Let me just refresh the page or what? Because chess engine is not working. How can I mean I obviously know the puzzle. But what's the problem with bishop c3 here? I think bishop c3 looks good. I don't know what's the issue here. Yeah, exactly. Bishop h4 looked very slow in my opinion as well. I'm not sure why that is the correct move. Anyhow, let's move on to our next puzzle. Hmm. So we're playing with white pieces. Our opponent's king is not that great. But wait. What if I capture on? Okay, if I capture on e5, king g5 is a mandatory move, which is to be made, right? Um, Queen f6, queen a. Queen d6. How is it a mate? Queen d6. Yeah, I'm thinking on the same lines. Queen d6, rook e6, and then queen f8. Rook f, knight f7, and then we just capture. That is my, I mean, it was my initial thought, but I was a little confused. I got a little greedy with thinking about if we can somehow capture win the queen on h4. But yeah, queen d6. The rook has to intervene. Queen f8. The only move is knight f7, and then we just capture, right? Awesome. Oh no, that's fine. That was the right move, by the way. Okay, so we're playing with black pieces. Um, so we're down by a full pawn, and this is a pass pawn, and it's an endgame position. Though we can, because my opponent's king is still on the first rank, we can try to create some sort of problems. King d3. King d3 forces white to do something because king d3 allows. But you know what? I can also go for king d2 here. Because king d3 or king d2, they both guard e2, which is an escaping square. The only question is which one should we go for? Let's see. King d3, which is my first move. How can white respond? Because king e1 is not bad, is not good because of rook a1, and that's a mate. So after king d3, how can this black rook? Then he can go for something like rook d6. But still, this check is uh, is a real threat, right? So king d3, how can white respond? Oh, you know what? After king d3, you can play rook e6, and then if I play rook a1, so I think in this position, king e2 is better because if rook e6, rook a1, rook e1, and then we just capture the rook. So yeah, king d2 should be the move. Awesome. So we're playing with white pieces. Yeah, king d2 is the move. Um, okay, so my opponent's king is stuck in the middle of the board. But my queen is also hit. So can we do something about mm, queen f4? Knight f4 is obviously there. Then nah, it doesn't work that well. So what about knight e4 check? Obviously the king cannot go to e1 because then he loses a rook. So after knight e4 check, he can go to c2 or c1. Hmm. Knight e4 check. King c2, let's say. But that is bad because of bishop e3 check, bishop e3, and then I capture on f4, right? And I get a. I'll be. I mean, right now I'm down by 2 pieces. So even if I just exchange pieces, it would be better for white. So I mean, winning the bishop on f4 is not really working in that line because knight e4, king c2, bishop e3, check, bishop e3, queen f4. It doesn't work, right? Knight e4, king c2, let's say. Uh, okay. And then bishop d3. King d3 is not possible because of knight f2. Check. Or maybe queen h1 and then knight f2. So after that, yeah, I think knight e4 looks good here. Knight e4. King c1. Yeah, I'm also going to analyze that, but I want to play king c2 there because a it gets the king in a diagonal opposition of knight, so there are no knight checks. Also, if he goes to c1, there is some pressure on f4 that comes with check. So the best move, or I guess say the least dangerous move here is king c2 in my opinion. Knight e4, king c2, bishop e3. The queen cannot capture, the king cannot capture, so bishop e3, right? Um, and then rook f, queen f4. Not sure. Queen f4, if that's enough. Oh wait, one sec. What about rook e2? Check. The queen cannot take because I just win the rook, right? And then this knight is under attack. I can just play something like rook d8 at some point of time. Um, rook e2 is also good here, right? But knight e4 is equally good here. I just can't make up my mind. Knight e4, king c2, bishop d3, bishop d3, and then queen f2. Yeah, you know what? This is also good, right? Knight e4, king c2, bishop e3, bishop e3, queen f2. But then he has got queen e2. I capture f4, but I'm not sure. I think rook e2 is not that great because yeah, rook e2, queen e2, queen h1, and then he has what? He has got a rook. I've got a rook. He has got a bishop. I've got a bishop. He is up by two pieces, right? And I don't have anything to show for. Knight e4. I'm going to go for knight e4 here. Ah, is it rook e2? Wow. And now what? I don't know. Let's see the solution. Okay. Ah. Anyhow, let's move on to our next puzzle. We are playing with black pieces. So my opponent's king is not that safe. Yeah. So there are some dark square weaknesses. But okay. So one good idea is to play rook b8, forcing the queen to move, then capturing on b2 and adding some pressure on g2. Because my rook is hit, right? So let's counter attack the queen. But the only problem with rook b8 is he can play queen c6, attacking e8. However, I can just go back to c8. Yeah. So definitely rook b8 is my idea, capturing on b2 with the intention of capturing on b2. Um, because other than that, yeah, obviously I was also actually the engine is not working. There's some issue with the leeches, at least on my system. I was also thinking about rook e2 and queen e2. How would black respond to that, but I'll probably analyze it a little later. So yeah, in this position, I'm thinking about rook b8, queen c6 maybe, then rook c8, and still we capture on b2, right? b2 is something that we need to put our rook onto so that we can add some pressure. Let's see. Because if I bring my this rook, he can still go for queen c6, and then rook b2 is not possible because the a8 rook falls. Yeah, see again, instead of queen c6, he's maintaining the pressure via d7. And now maybe he wants to play queen h3 there. Ooh, that is interesting. Sorry, queen a2, rook b8, queen a2. You mean queen h a7, then rook b2, if that's your question. The problem is he can play queen h3 anytime he wants to. Now maybe I can play queen rook e6, not allowing our opponent's queen to go to h3. Um, Also, if I play rook d8, queen h3 maybe. I think rook e6 is something I would love to play because logically we are shutting down this queen, and then our threat is rook b2. However, after that he can just play something like rook b1 maybe. And then how do we respond? How do we continue our attack? And then rook coming to h6 could be dangerous. But then is it that dangerous? Because even if I manage to play queen h2, he has got king f2, and then what? Oh yeah, you know what? Rook e6. If he plays rook b1, rook g6, and then queen h3 is not possible, right? We still attack, but then rook e2 is possible there. But still we capture on f3. Yeah. So yeah, rook e6 looks good. This is so annoying. What's the problem with rook e6? Anyhow, let's move on to our next puzzle. Let's continue with the stream. Um, okay, so there's some pressure on f7. Yeah. Um, yeah. So there's some pressure on f7. Rook, queen f7 is my candidate move. Yeah, I mean, if you can, that would be great, man. And please, stop calling me sir. Don't need to, offer me unrequired respect, I believe. But yeah, if you can, that would be great, man. That would be super great. In fact, I'm not sure if you can see the puzzle code, but yeah, I think it will be a little difficult for you to put up the pieces. But if you can, it will be super helpful for both of us. Yeah, yeah, because we both are, playing the puzzles simultaneously, so it will be easier. Because I mean, normally I analyze with the engine, but it's not working, so yeah, can't do much about that. Okay, so yeah, so my first move is it's pretty obvious, Queen f7, right? And now okay, wow, this, oh no, it's not that simple. I was thinking of Queen f8, King h5, g4 check, King h4, and Queen f6. But the problem is there's a bishop on c5. Maybe Akul. That's my name. Yeah. Um, that should suffice, right? Let's go for first name basis. Yeah. Okay. So I'm thinking about Queen g7 check here, and if he plays h5, g4 check, h4, Queen f6, g3 is there. Though it's not a mate. Yeah. So let's see. Queen G7, King H5, and then Queen F6. Maybe that is even better because then we're threatening. Oh, you know what? It's not that easy because if I play Queen G7, King H5, and then Queen F6, if I give my opponent some time to react, he is going to luckily play. He's going to definitely play Knight Queen F1 check. If King H2, Knight F3 check, Pawn takes on F3, and then Queen G1 is mate. Yeah, that is something I need to be aware of because that is the idea how Black is going to is hoping for. Queen F1, King H2, Knight F3 check, F3 and Queen G1. So, but one sec. F1, King H2, Knight F3, Queen G. Oh yeah, then he has got something like Queen check. Takes, yeah, and it's yeah. Then that's also mate, right? Anyhow, the point is Black is going to mate us, and we can't do anything about that unless we keep our opponent in check, and then we maintain the initiative, and then we end up checkmating him. So yeah, Queen G7, and now G4 check, King H4. Let's see. G4 check, King H4. Again, it does not matter. Let's say G4, Knight G4, Pawn G4, King G4. That is interesting. That is interesting. Because then we run out of checks. Oh no, we don't. Oh yeah, we do. Oh no, wait. No. So you're saying G4, King H4, Queen H6. He can play Knight H5 there. Most likely Knight H5 and defend everything, right? As in then we run out of checks. So we need to make sure that we do not run out of checks, right? G4, H4. In fact, after G4, he can also go for Knight G4. But then we have Queen H7 check and Knight H6. Oh yeah, that is also possible. This is tough, not that easy. Hmm. Let me change the music. It's weird. Okay, G4 check, Knight G4, Pawn H G4, King G4. And then what do? We just don't have that many checks available. G4, Knight G4, Queen H7, Knight H6, Pawn G4, King G4. But then we don't have Queen G6 because the Queen on D3 controls that. Yeah. Hmm. Okay, let's see. G4, Knight G4, Queen H7, Knight H6, Queen H6, King H6. Ah, it does not work. Oh wait, why are we doing this? Yeah, exactly. We should sacrifice our queen. Bingo. That should make sense. Yeah, as in we both solved it at the same time. So Queen H7, check, Knight H7, Rook H7, and that's mate. Wow, didn't see this one. Awesome. Wow. I was unnecessarily complicating that stuff. Thanks, man. Thanks a lot. You helped me getting closer to 2500 if I can. Okay, so we're playing with black pieces. So clearly we have to attack our opponent's king. There are some light square weaknesses. I would not call them weaknesses because he has a light square bishop, but yeah, we are capitalizing on that only. I'm thinking about knight g4, but then he can play h4. Yeah. But you know what? If I play knight g4, h4, g takes h4, knight g4, and then this knight is very difficult to remove, right? I think the better move could be bishop g2, bishop g2, knight g4. If now g4, I can capture, and I can still capture. King f1, yeah, that is possible. Queen h2, king e2, and then we capture the bishop on g2, right? I think that looks good because once I play, if he is able to put his knight on h4, then it's difficult to remove. But is there anything else? Bishop, let's see, bishop g2, knight g4. How does he defend? Or does he need to defend? h4, takes, f1, king h, queen h2 maybe? Hmm. Okay, there's another variation which I like, which goes like knight g4, h4, knight f2, king f2, takes, takes, queen check, and then he's got king e2 there, right? Yeah, it does not work. Hmm. Okay. I mean, it looks. I mean, the idea looks good to open the my opponent's king side, but I'm not sure if it's enough with knight with continuing with bishop g2, knight g4, and then going forward with opening up the board. Because there is no tactic involved, to be honest, and we're solving a puzzle, so there has to be some tactic, right? Otherwise, there's no point of solving the puzzle. Um, but obviously, that's not the logic you apply. Queen h7. You're talking about queen h2, and we believe king h2, knight g4, check. Then you can just go to king h1. Yeah, and there is no way to bring our rooks into the attack as well. Yeah. Queen h3. You can just go to knight e1, attack my queen and the bishop. Uh, okay. Also, if he has played rook c6, can we somehow utilize our bishop on d6? Knight g4, h4. What if bg2, g takes it? Yeah, that is what I'm also hoping for. That should be the correct move. Basically, you're saying bishop. I'm going for a different structure, the different move order rather. Bishop g2, knight g4, and then if he plays h4, captures, and queen captures. But then he can escape. King h1, queen h2. The bishop is okay, kind of trapped because The king needs to protect it, but it's not enough. But I'll go for knight g4 first, preventing involving h4, and then captures. Hmm. Okay, so first we have to play knight g4, because if we just capture on g2, bishop g2, knight h4, he can play h3. Yeah, and then our attack is kind of stopped. So the best move should be knight g4. But after first bishop g2, he can play h3. Right. Exactly. Man, I think you're reading my mind. This thought just came to me, and then you just pinged me. So yeah, knight g4 is what I'm hoping for here as well. Awesome. And now we can capture, because we can't capture on h4 because the knight captures on h4, right? And then it's difficult to get rid of this knight, right? Yeah. And is this the better move, or do we have something else here? I don't see it, right? Okay, should we capture on g3? As in, hmm, if I capture on e6, sorry, d6, bishop comes to e5. Hmm. Can we capture on g3? And let's see if it captures on d8. f2, check, king f1, knight check, king goes there. Oh yeah, that is better. I think we capture on g3, but let's say if we capture on g3, rook d8, we now capture on f2, check. The pawn is protected, so he has to go to f1, and then we capture on e3. Yeah, and then the king cannot go anywhere because this square is guarded by the queen. He is in check. The pawn is taking care of f2. So I think yeah, it makes sense on capturing on g3. Oh, is it? What's the problem with capturing on g3? This is so annoying. I mean, coming this close to solving a puzzle and then losing out. Anyhow, let's not crib about it. Let's move on to our next puzzle. The problem is I can't even analyze with the engine on stream. That's the sad part. Anyhow, let's move on to our next puzzle. Okay. Hmm. Hmm, hmm, hmm. So a queen is hit, right? Hmm. Now can we go for queen b5? We hit b2 with the idea of checkmate. If he goes to b1, that is bad because of knight a3 and we win the queen. So after queen b5, he can play b3 himself, right? Oh, you know what? I think what we can do is queen g5, king b1, and then queen b5. Because now b3 is met with knight a3 check. What say? This looks good, right? We just shift our queen to b5, but first giving a check. B takes e5. Bishop takes e5. Bishop takes e5, but then can't we capture on f2 with check? Because if we capture on f2 with check, I can't even just remember the puzzle. Anyhow, but I'll I'll definitely look into that because I believe capturing on f2 was strong there. But anyhow, so yeah, in this puzzle, I think queen g5 checked. Obviously, the pieces cannot intervene. King b1 and then queen b5. Because if I play queen b5 directly, b3, and then there is not check available. Okay, we can still go for queen b5 check, but then we don't have queen b5 available. Yeah, so we can't really place the queen in order to attack our opponent's queen. So yeah, queen g5 is what I'm thinking about. And now queen b5. Awesome. Okay, so this is an endgame puzzle. So this is interesting. If you look, if g f2, then king f1 comes. Oh, nice. So he would not got it. Makes sense. Now it makes sense. I think I was hoping that he would capture back, but that's not possible that way. Makes sense. Okay, so we're playing with white pieces over here. Hmm, I'm sorry. So it's an endgame puzzle, and my opponent's king needs to be in this square of the board. However, at some point of time, he can play something like a6. If I capture on a6, he can capture on c6, and then a7 is not really a threat because of king b7. Yeah, but this pawn on e3 is a major threat. Yeah. Okay. Mm. Hmm. Hmm, hmm, hmm. So I'm thinking about king g4 with the idea of, but then king g4 I can't come to f3, right? Hmm. Okay. King g2, king f2 coming to e3, and then putting some pressure on the e pawn. In fact, if I go for king h3, h5 check, and I cannot capture the pawn because of this e3 push. So I think king g2 should be the move here. Also g3 is something I can go for because that gives me some space and also allows my king to move on the third rank. So king g2 or g3, g4 are my candidate moves here because anyhow a6 is going to take place and then we can't do much about that. We have to capture on a6 and then he captures on c6. But at least we can then take advantage of the fact that he will be away from his pawns. Or so g3 is just losing because f5 check comes into play. But then I have to go back to h3. Yeah, I think g4 is what I will consider here because if I play king g2, f5 could be also played. So yeah, g4. What is it? f5 myself. Okay. You know what? I think I'll call it a day. I just don't know, man. I mean, it's so frustrating. As in, I need to. I just don't know. I think there's I mean, there are a lot of things that I need to work on. There's still a long way before I can hit 2500. But anyhow, let's call it a day. It's been pretty eventful, and I hope you liked what you saw, Ritikesh. If you did, then I would like you to subscribe me on Twitch as well because I believe you haven't. So yeah, with that said, let's call it a day. I'll see you guys next week. Till then, take care. So one game. Yeah, yeah, sure thing, sure thing. We can have it, man. Uh, why don't you ping me your username and then we can continue? Yeah. Or maybe I played with you, right? Let me just see in my profile if I can get your username. Uh, okay, let me see. Is it Ultimate Shijo? Is it you, Ritikesh? Because I did play a game with you. I'll wait for. Yeah. So is this your ID? Ultimate Shijo underscore 007? Because I don't play that often, so it should be your ID. Yes. Okay. So I will be issuing you a challenge. Oh wait, no, no, no. That's not what I meant. That's a corresponding game. Let's go for a real time challenge. My bad. Time control real time. Let's say 10-0. Yeah. Let's see. What do we get? Last time it was a draw. I think you played real well. I mean, it's embarrassing to losing to a 1700 guy, but then that's what life is. Can't do much about that. Okay, we're playing with white pieces. Let's say knight f3. Okay, d5, g3, c5. Okay, let's play d3. Okay, then what's the point of playing e6 and then e5? Okay, let's just continue with the idea of pushing forward with e4. Okay. Hmm. Oh, got it. Got it. Okay, let's play it safe, maybe. Hmm. By the way, what does a username mean? As in, is Shijo something? I don't know what that means because your name is Ritikesh, right? So there's no S and H in your name as well. I mean, it is at the end of your name, but I don't know what does Shijo mean. Okay, let's just throw a question to this bishop. How he wants to continue. Hmm. I think when I'm playing such games, I wanted to write shoji, but it was a spelling. Shoji is a Japanese game, right? If I'm not wrong. Yeah. In fact, you know what? If you like checkers, we can go for checkers as well. I really like checkers. Oh yeah, you can't. I guess you can't once you make your username. Okay. Yes, and I don't know. Do you? By the way, do you play Shoji? I have heard it's a pretty intense game because yeah, in that game you're okay. What's that? Isn't he losing a piece on e5 on a pawn on e5? I mean, there are a lot of different ways I can continue. But let's just continue with this move first. Hmm. Okay, because now he is moving his queen twice. Oh, fine. That's awesome. If he wants to do that. Um. Okay. Now we just need to make sure that we exchange pieces as quickly as we possibly can, and also make sure I don't get checkmated. Yeah, that's the most important thing, I believe. Hmm. Okay, and now we are good to. I mean, we have technically put all our pieces into the game. Okay. Um. Let's get our knight out of that nasty pin. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Let's see if we can do some. damage with our bishop this way. I think I have to play a little fast. Well, I have a job, so as in, uh, I have a day job that which is why I can't stream every now and then. Okay, let's see. By the way, you're just 14, right? Man, you play. I mean, it's so great that you started playing chess this early because by the time you will be like 18 or 20, you'll be doing great. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's see. What do we get? Oh, awesome. Nice. I think a lot of people started playing chess in the lockdown itself. The problem with I mean, this is what I don't like about streaming chess games because I'm not that much, when I'm playing game, I mean, all my focus into playing game. I can't talk much about that. Also, there's something called stream sniping. The most of I mean, nobody is on the stream, so there's no stream sniping. But yeah, the point is I just can't do both these things simultaneously. Puzzle is something that I still can do because I discuss the ideas, right? But that's something I can't do like other people do on a stream. Awesome. I saw this one coming. So now we are, I mean, I'm down a piece in terms of the configuration, I would say, but then he's losing his rook, right? I'm winning the rook now. I think this is a blunder from black. I mean, I was happy exchanging my rook for two pieces because I would, still be, I mean, I thought I would be able to manage the middle game. If I mean, that's what I was hoping for. Awesome, awesome. Thanks, GG. Let me also go for that. Yeah, it was awesome playing with you, Ritesh. I think you blundered in this particular move, but anyhow, let's you win some, you learn some. That's how it is, especially with chess. Definitely with chess, I should say. Anyhow, with that said, yeah, yeah, good game, no doubt. With that said, let's call it a day. See you next week, and till then, take care, dude, and I'll see you next week. Yeah, awesome.